In this video, we're going to talk about text structures. And when I say text structures, I'm talking about how the author chose to organize the writing. And there are about 5 ways that most pieces of writing fall into. The first one is description. And description is one where they are talking about something. A lot of times you see it about animals or something specific or scientific. And it'll say things like, for example, for instance, it'll talk about the characteristics. Think about when you've done animal research projects, you were making a description of that animal. Sequence and order is the second type of text structure. Authors use this one when they are trying to order something. So think of biographies. When you talk about somebody's life, a lot of times you start at the beginning, which is one of our key words. Then you go into next, after, finally, in the end. It is very chronologically ordered. The third text structure is compare and contrast. This is when things are talked about how they're similar, alike, and then talk about how they're different. Other keywords are on the other hand. Fourth, text structure is cause and effect. This is something that in Unit 4 we talked about a lot. When we were talking about global warming, we were saying that the Earth's temperature rising is the cause to many things that are happening in our world, like the polar bears' habitats are being destroyed, so the polar bears are endangered. Another effect is that the sea levels are rising. A fifth text structure is problem and solution. This is when it talks about something that needs to be solved, or it will say an issue. Other keywords are therefore, as a result of, due to. And these are some visuals along to go with the text structures. Now what I want to do is I want to read through a text with you, and I want you to see how the text is structured, because a lot of times on the New York State test and other times when you're asked multiple choice questions, a common question for them to ask you is, how did the author choose to organize their writing? And I want you to be familiar with what that means. So in this section of text, it's called Building a Campfire. Sitting around a campfire is a classic summer camping tradition. Before you can tell scary stories, though, you will need to build your fire. Begin by gathering firewood from around your camp. In addition to wood, you will need other tinder like pine needles, bark, or dead plants to help ignite the fire. Then, dig a small pit for your fire and build a ring of stone around it for maximum safety. Place your wood and tinder into the pit and start the fire using an ignition source such as a match. Once ignited, slightly blow on your flame to build heat. When you have a flame, use large pieces of firewood to build a teepee. Now sit back and relax in front of your roaring campfire. So we just read that short text, and I want to go back to our reference sheet that has the 5 text structures. As I was reading, I was starting to hear some key words that are here on this chart, and I'm wondering if you could take a second and think about, what words did you hear? Let me just reread those first 2 sentences. Sitting around a campfire is a classic summer tradition. Before you can tell scary stories, though, you will need to build your fire. I hear that word before, and I feel like I remember seeing that on here. Oh yeah, under sequence and order, one of the signal words is before. Let's see if we can find anything else to help us here. Begin by. Oh, that means we should probably do that first. Oh, and then I see then. Once ignited, now sit back and relax. So if you start by building your fire, then you can do this, then you can do that. So if I go back to the reference sheet, that's really sounding like sequence and order, because it said before, and then I heard then, but then I also heard other words that weren't sequence words on that sheet, but I know that they mean to sequence. So when it said once ignited, that means you had to ignite the fire, then you can move on to the next step. So the text structure for this text is sequence and order. I hope that this video helps you understand that authors choose different ways to structure their writing, and that this will help you think about what ways do authors choose, and then help you answer questions based off of that.